Taken over Chicago, and the center of the city is paralyzed. Look at this. This is crazy. Horns and noise. Look, they're being told to move. No one's moving, except for maybe this guy right here. Ooh, he's getting arrested for something. Did something happen on the bus? I feel bad for the bus drivers here. They got a real dangerous job. It's just total mayhem. So many American flags. Wow. Wow, everybody's so patriotic for not America. Very interesting. You know what this does? This sucks away all the police resources that are already way too small. Look at that Trump building in the background right there. What this does, it takes away all the police who are supposed to be out there stopping crimes like this. Ooh! That's not good.
I was screaming. I'm like, get down, stay down. Are you okay? I'm more worried about her.
Got a home invasion.
Smashed out living room windows as a backdrop.
Look at these poor
Patricia
people.
Nelson and her daughter, Nisha Thornton.
These are the people who are suffering.
Terrifying moments early Saturday morning when Ring video shows two men, one armed with a bat, the other with an improvised incendiary device, attacking a Chicago lawn home.
What? This is terrible.
Not a robbery. They were trying to hurt us. And we have no idea how or why.
Their only blessing, that incendiary device thrown towards the broken living room windows never made it inside.
That's the scary part, because what I didn't even realize initially was that my mom's oxygen was all right here.
But who was behind the attack?
This could have been worse.
One video shows the offenders fleeing northbound on Kedzie towards 72nd Street in a dark-colored sedan. With police saying no one is in custody, the women's fear is they could come back. It is why they're speaking out.
You know why no one's in custody? Because all the police are down there in the center of the city, which has been totally paralyzed. Just look at how many police it takes to arrest one criminal.
Harassing me. Get the on. I know the thing.
Oh.
I know the thing.
Oh, he's shouting him down.
Oh, yeah, you know me. Yeah, I got another video. You harassing me again.
Oh.
Yeah.
These police, man, they're terrified of these criminals.
Y'all down here. You know, on my daughter, you know. You was just at my little cousin harassing her dad. Yeah. Yo.
Wow.
And I live right by the station. Y'all some. I respect the feds more than y'all. Y'all ain't no on my daughter.
Oh. You hear that? He said he respects the feds and ICE more than he respects the local police. Which makes sense. ICE are the only ones out there bringing people into custody. Look at all these recent arrests. This guy right here is from Venezuela. They're taking him. He's getting deported. Got him all chained up. He's been in the country for a year since his deportation order was issued by a judge, since his due process finished. This guy right here is from Mexico, apparently. He's getting arrested. These people are all just hanging out in sanctuary cities. They get told by a judge that it's time to go. And this guy right here says he's got a DUI. He's resisted police before, vehicular burglary. This convict is arguing. He's supposed to come into court in October, but he's got a criminal conviction, so they're allowed to take him now because he's here committing crime. That's crazy, man. You got DEA and ICE on this. But there's one person in Chicago who this morning woke up and became very upset about the whole ICE situation here.
A Naperville homeowner left with an unfinished roof and in disbelief after neighbors told his family they believe ICE agents came to his house and detained crew members working on his
whole construction crew.
They said all the workers were rounded up and just taken away indiscriminately. There was no checking. There was
his
no
house is being built illegally.
Bobby Fisher and his family were out celebrating his daughter's birthday.
Wow.
Neighbors telling Bobby masked agents who they believe to be ICE arrived at his
That
Naperville
roof is
home
nowhere
around
near
noon
finished.
and targeted the crew working on his roof. He says 5 of the 6 crew members jumped down and ran. Bobby says one of his neighbors told him one of them injured his leg before he was detained. But what shocked Bobby the most was how agents allegedly detained another crew member who ran out of fear.
My neighbors witnessed 2 agents chasing one guy down the street in a residential area.
So what's the big deal if someone's detained? If ICE detains someone and they're here legally, they have to let them go. See, that's what this guy is not being very forthright about.
A roofer running for his life.
This photo, Bobby says, was captured of that roofer after he was detained at gunpoint. Bobby later learned from the owner of the company that all 5 of the detained workers were documented.
Okay.
This is just people trying to make a living, and you're harming us, like the homeowners. Like, this isn't a business. This isn't, you raided a factory. This is a home.
So if they're all documented, where are they right now? If the business owner is correct in saying that these people all have legal permission, how come they aren't back here working on this guy's roof? There's part of the story that we're not being told.
Meantime, ICE is making new arrests as part of its Chicago crackdown, and this as Democratic leaders in Illinois are pushing back. Mike Tobin is there for us live.
Pushing back.
And Aisha, the ICE and Border Patrol operations picked up in the area of Chicago over the weekend, zeroing in on a northwest suburb called Elgin. ICE picked up a guy who's really an example of the kind of problems you get with sanctuary policies. Aldo Salazar Bahena is his name, from Mexico. He was convicted in 2005 of a 2005 gang-related murder, I should say. In 2016, a federal judge revoked his status as a lawful permanent resident
10 years
and
ago.
issued a final order of removal. Salazar was paroled September 12, but due to sanctuary policies in Illinois, the Department of Corrections did not tell Immigration and Customs Enforcement that he was getting out, so he was released onto the street. On Sunday, ICE picked him up in Elgin. Also in Elgin, an example of what opponents say will happen with these roundups. One of the men picked up by Border Protection agents on Tuesday is a legal U.S. citizen born in Texas. Joe Botello was briefly detained and placed in a Customs and Border Protection vehicle before his status was determined.
Okay, so what is the problem with that? You have people who, when ICE shows up, they run immediately. It makes them look guilty. They're not cooperating. They're resisting arrest. If they would just stay put and explain who they are, they wouldn't have to be wrestled to the ground and put in the back of an ICE vehicle. And this guy who was detained, he was released. How hard is this? And what do residents of a sanctuary city expect is going to happen when they allow so many fugitives to come and live there that ICE has no idea who's who and everyone is resisting? What do they think is going to happen?
Border Protection spokesman tells me when agents go to an address looking for a target, they will secure every individual at the scene. Once it was determined that Patella was not a threat, he was released. And this is the kind of thing opponents like Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker have been complaining about throughout this process.
Pritzker.
They're grabbing people who have brown skin or who speak with an accent or who speak another language, and not people who are guilty of or are accused of perpetrating a violent crime. That's who we'd like to have civilian law enforcement go after.
They're grabbing people who run away.
In response to the stepped-up immigration enforcement around the city of Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson signed the right to protest executive order. It's not entirely clear what this executive order does beyond the First Amendment, but it does order Chicago police to work with protesters.
So what is basically happening here is people are putting on a big show for the cameras about how they're resisting the federal government and how they're trying to make Chicago safer, when the opposite is actually what's happening.
What do you have to offer in lieu of sending in the National Guard to make Chicagoans
that's a great question.
safe in their communities?
The fact of the matter is, no one has asked me to send federal troops into this city to make it safe. It has never come up. It never came up during the campaign. It's never come up in the first 2 years. The fact of the matter is, we are driving violence down on this city, and we're using every single resource that's available to us. Jails and incarceration and law enforcement is a sickness that has not led to safe communities. I'm going to work hard every single day.
I mean, so the goal here is to stop crime without arresting people or putting people in jail or using the police force to make the city safe. No wonder we got people's houses getting attacked for no reason by people with baseball bats.
Protect the people who are caught up in violence in the city. Guess why? You want to know why? Because the vast majority of them look like me. That has
nothing to do with it.
He doesn't talk to black mayors about what it's like to live in communities that have been disinvested in. So no, we're not going to succumb to the sickness and the evil that Dr. King warned us about a generation ago. This is a group project, but we're not going to allow the President of the United States of America or any of his ilk Look at the work that we're doing across this country, and then now we're experiencing some level of reprieve, and now he wants to put his name on our paper.
Oh my goodness. Okay, what do we got here? Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, new low approval rating, 26% approval rating. I think even George W. Bush was higher than that at one point. And you know what nobody's talking about? Chicago might actually be one of the most dangerous cities for women.
New details tonight on these 13 robberies in 2 well-known Chicago neighborhoods. Armed thieves are targeting young women.
Our Sarah Maki is live in the Gold Coast neighborhood where bars are on alert. Sarah?
Yeah, that's right. And we're told there's a bit of a playbook here.
A playbook?
For this area, Brian Hopkins says that he is working with bars and with restaurants to get information out, to place flyers in women's restrooms here, and to get staff trained up on the warning signs of what to look for.
How about high crime? That's a warning sign.
Business is picking up as the temperatures rise. Chicagoans spending more time outside, but that is exactly where a robbery crew is finding its victim.
Terrible.
We've actually prevented a number of these incidents from happening because the staff has been so well trained on what to look out for.
Not the
Brian
police.
Hopkins tells us a robbery crew is targeting bar patrons after midnight as they wait for their rideshare drivers. Sometimes preparing to be the car they're waiting on, other times offering a ride in exchange for cash. But Hopkins says both strategies end with an armed robbery.
Many times these vehicles are stolen or they have stolen plates on them to make it difficult to trace. It's just a high-risk situation.
Yet we're going to do everything we can to stop crime without using police. That's what the mayor says. But maybe this is why the mayor is so against using police.
Advocates gathered outside demanding that money allocated for unfilled police positions be reallocated for public health and community care.
So we have a system that is broken and we need to fix it. And the only place where we can find the money to fix it right now is in the police department.
There were concerns
take the money from the cops
overtime as well.
I think when you've got a $1.5 billion deficit, you've got to look at every department. And so what I've called for isn't necessarily cutting, but auditing at the very least, right? Are we spending the money as effectively as possible?
The police department has already racked up $28 million more than the $100 million it's budgeted for overtime